Hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Layla, and today I'm sharing with y'all an update on my money milestones. This is the fourth year of me making a video on this topic. I will have the other 3 videos linked down below. I've been making these since 2021. I'm also still using the same spreadsheet that I've always used. I think in 2021 and 2022 it looked a little bit different compared to 2023 and right now, but I also will have that link down below. It's actually a link directly to my spreadsheet, so you can see it in real time as I'm updating it on a monthly basis, but also if you are interested in creating these milestones using the spreadsheet for yourself, you can make a copy of that spreadsheet and, edit it as you please. But all of these milestones have to do with my finances. It goes from, my debt in the past, my emergency fund savings, how much I'm investing, my net worth, how much I have invested. I am somebody who really thrives off of setting goals and working toward goals, achieving goals, seeing my progress on goals. I think it's just really fun, and having these milestones in place has been really motivating, but also super cool to look back on, because when I look at 2021 and even just last year, because I watched my 2023 video before filming this, it's crazy to see the progress, and I love that I have all of this historical data because, if I'm going to continue doing this for years, decades, and I'll be able to look back on, 20 years ago and be like, wow, my net worth was negative and now I'm at, hopefully in 20 years, over $1 million. So if you're somebody who thrives off of goals and tracking goals and seeing your progress, like having a visual, I highly encourage you do something like this or something similar. But I'm very excited to show you all the progress that I've made over the last year. The first time that I ever filmed this back in 2021, I did it in August, and every year since I've filmed it in August, so that's what I am continuing. Now, before we hop to my spreadsheet, I do want to talk about today's video sponsor, which is Skillshare. As many of y'all know, I recently became self-employed, and I quickly realized that something that gets really overwhelming with content creation is content creation itself and staying organized with everything. So I've been using Skillshare to learn more about Notion specifically and how I can use it better, because it is a tool that I have used for months now, but I know that I have a lot of room for improvement because it's a tool that can be a little bit overwhelming. So these classes have been helping me learn so much more about the platform and getting organized with my business. I've also been consuming classes around entrepreneurship specifically, so I had searched that in the search bar. I've watched classes on habits for content creators, how to build a subscription newsletter that people would be interested in reading, how to get more clients, like lead magnets, developing products that people actually want to use and that they love, and I have learned a lot throughout the last couple of weeks. There's so much great content on this platform created by some amazing people, so I am very excited to be implementing the things that I've been learning. If you've never heard of Skillshare before, it is the largest online learning community for creatives, with tons of classes across all different categories led by industry experts. So you can find classes on, like I was saying, entrepreneurship or specific platforms like using Excel or using Notion, but also with freelancing, design, film, editing, productivity, animation, audio, and so much more. So whether you want to gain more skills for your career or for just personal, like if you want to just be more creative in general or build your side hustle, then you are bound to find something on Skillshare to take things to the next level. Everything is on demand, so you can do everything at your own pace, and also you can stack lessons. They also have something called learning paths, and these are curated sequential classes that will help you to master a skill. So yeah, just so many great options, and definitely something in here for everybody. And I'm so excited to share that the first 500 people who use my link in the description box will get a free 1-month trial of Skillshare. So if you are interested and you want to check things out on Skillshare, learn something new, then you can start today and up-level your skills. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and if you do end up joining, please share with us which classes you end up exploring. Okay, so here we are on my money milestone spreadsheet. As I said, this exact spreadsheet is linked down below. You will not be able to edit it, but you can make a copy for yourself and change these things on the left-hand side if you want to. Obviously, I'm just going to go in order here, but just want to call out that this here is 2023, so I'm going to start from August 2023, and then of course we're going into all of 2024 so far. I'm filming this early August, so yeah, we have data through July 2024. So let's go back to over here. So student loan debt free. In my last video back in 2023, I mentioned how I had $36,000 saved up for my student loan debt at the time of me filming, but I hadn't actually paid off that debt yet. But after that video went live later on in the month, I think it was the last day of August, I did pay the full $36,000 of my student loan debt completely off. And that was because the forbearance was ending. So I would have had to start paying interest on the student loan debt that I had come September. So that was the whole plan. I had saved up $36,000 cash in order to completely pay off my student loans in one lump sum. Throughout that time, I made quite a bit of passive income just from the interest that I gained in my high yield savings account. So that was definitely some interesting times. It was weird times, but honestly, it was such a good thing to happen for my situation because I was able to make that extra money and I didn't have to pay that much interest on my student loans. But yeah, that is a major update. I became completely debt free. My student loans were the last of my debt, and that was August 2023. I can't believe it's only been a year. Like, it feels like I've been debt free for longer, and I'm not sure why that is, but it's been amazing. Next milestone is my emergency fund. So last year I had reached over 12,000 in my emergency fund. I didn't add anything to it for the rest of 2023, but I did start adding to it more recently. I started adding more, I think in March. Yeah, added some more in March. And then since then I have slowly increased. I had updated some of these. So now instead of, I think before, after the 12K milestone, I went up to like 18K because this year my goal was to get to 18,000. But that goal is what I set before quitting my full-time job, and it's just going to take me more time to save up this money. So I added in here my updated goal, which is to reach a $15,000 emergency fund by the end of 2024. So far, as of the end of July, I'm at $14,130 almost, and if I keep adding 100 to it each month, which is what I've been doing, I should be good to reach this, plus with the interest that I gain in my account. Now, after the 15K, you can see that the next goal would be 18,000 in my emergency fund, and I have this set as a goal of December 2025. So for 2025, I would need to save about 3,000 for the year to reach this, but I'm just not too sure. Like, I think I would be okay with just keeping it at 15K for some time. I may adjust this and just see what happens, but yeah, I'm not too concerned about having a huge chunk in my emergency fund. At some point, I do want to have a large amount in cash, like much larger than I have now, over 100,000. This is one of the goals that I set by the time I turn 40. I said I would like to have $100,000 cash. But it's not something that I'm really stressing over. Like, if I don't achieve that by 40, that's fine. Same with these numbers. Like, if I don't have 36K, I don't think I'll reach 36K by 2026 unless I increase my income significantly. But I'll just have to wait and see. There is, in my opinion, really no point of like worrying about these numbers right now because we still have the rest of 2024. Got to hit that 15K first, and then come 2025, I of course will set goals and figure it out then. Next milestone is having $20,000 for my car. I think I changed this goal since last year, since my last video. So now I put 2035 because that is when I will be 40, right? Yes, that's when I'll be 40. I drive a 2015 Toyota Camry. It has about 74,000 miles on it, so not too much based on how old it is. And I also get regular maintenance. I take good care of it. So the goal is to make it last as long as possible. But I would like to have 20,000 saved for a car so that when the time comes that I do need to purchase a car, I will have cash saved for it, just ready to go. Now, realistically, I probably need more than 20,000, especially with the way that inflation is looking and just the economy. But, you know, 20K is just what I've had for a long time. This also includes so the savings that you're seeing here is car/car maintenance because I save for them in the same sinking fund. Back in August of 2023, I had over $2,500, and now I'm at about $4,200. So pretty decent growth there. I am adding to it on a monthly basis, but I also pull from this 1 or 2 times a year. So if I get any car maintenance, which I'm getting car maintenance later this week, and it's going to be 4 new tires and an oil change. So this is going to be quite a bit of money that I'm going to pull from this. So I know that it's going to drop, and then I'll have to slowly build it back up again. And that's just going to happen every every year because I use this for car maintenance as well. But yes, ideally at some point I would get this to 20K and slowly getting there. Next up is having $60,000 for a house as a house down payment. And so last year, this is something I did have a sinking fund for. So I had a little bit over $100 in that sinking fund. And when I talked about this last year, I was saying like, this is not a goal of mine in the near future. I don't think that's realistic for me. Even right now, it's not realistic. I have no clue when it is that I will buy a home on my own or whatever the case may be. So at this point, I do have the goal set for 2035 as well. I would obviously need to up my savings for this pretty significantly to be able to achieve this, because now I have this at $0. I ended up closing that sinking fund and moved that $100 elsewhere. I think I moved it to my emergency fund because it's just not a focus of mine right now, not a priority. I would love to, but with the way, obviously my income decreased because I'm now self-employed, but also with the interest rates, the pricing of the houses, just the maintenance of a home, it is not realistically in my near future. Things could change, but right now it's not something I am focused on. Next would be investment milestones. So last year I was working toward 50K invested and I was at about 44,700. And I hit 50K invested by the end of the year, which is nice. So then I was able to move on to having 100,000 invested. And I was investing pretty heavily over the last year, but in the last couple months that has decreased. And as of July 2024, I have $81,993 invested, which was actually a decrease compared to June, the month before, because the stock market has been crashing. But that's a pretty good change compared to last year. That is practically double. So 44,000 up to over 81,000. That's not so bad. And I think, so I have this goal set for July 2025. I think that's realistic. Honestly, it does depend on the stock market. So if things continue to drop as they have been, it's going to be a bit more difficult, but I will continue to invest a little bit. I am not investing as heavily as I was before, not even close, just because I am making less money, but that's another thing that could change. I don't know what my income will look like on a month-to-month basis, and the more money that I make, ideally, the more that I would be investing too. But on the other side of that, this also could be something that just happens on its own. If the market increases, then I could see my numbers go up past 100K, and that would be great because I know that the more money you have invested, the more your money will just grow on its own. So very close, but not quite there yet. And I think July 2025 sounds somewhat realistic. Then we have some net worth milestones. So last year I was working toward a $100,000 net worth, and I'm so excited, still excited, that I did achieve that in March of 2024. So now I am working toward, my next milestone on here is a net worth of 250,000, but I think I should put in some numbers between that. So like 150K is probably what I'll add in there, because obviously I'm pretty far off from 250,000. So end of July, I reached 114,906. Similar to my investments, my net worth also decreased in July compared to June, just by a little bit. And, ideally that would not continue. I want it to go up. But if you watch my monthly updates, as well as like the new goals that I set for 2024, now that I've left my job, my net worth goal for 2024 now is to reach 125,000. And I do think that is pretty realistic. I have a 250K net worth by 2026. I think I maybe could. I'm going to leave that. It's a bit of a stretch, but you never know, especially if I can reach these higher numbers, like having over 100K invested. And, if I start earning more in dividends and that gets reinvested and just the capital gains, I think that's possible. So I'm going to leave it at the 2026 and see how things are looking 1 year from now. Next milestone is maxing out my Roth IRA. This got a check back in 2022. That's the first time I maxed it out. I actually did that in 2023 though. It was like January 2023 that I maxed out 2022, and then I quickly was able to max out 2023's Roth IRA, which was a limit of 6,500, and I did max out my Roth IRA for 2024 as well. That was 7,000. I actually had saved up 7,000 in 2023 to be able to do this at the beginning of 2024. So I had 7,000 ready to go by January 1st, and I maxed it out by, I think it was January 3rd. I honestly would love to be able to keep doing that. It's just going to be a little bit more challenging now that I don't have my full-time job and my side hustle income coming, like the two of them together, because that helped a ton. But I'm excited that I've maxed it out 3 years in a row, and we'll see what next year looks like. Next milestone is to max out my 401k, and I said the goal was 2024 because going into 2024, that was the goal, and I thought I would be maxing it out because I thought I would stay at my full-time job. But I left my job, so this will not happen in 2024, at least it's not very likely. In 2023, I contributed, just from myself, not the company match, I contributed $8,232 to my 401k, which isn't too bad. And then so far for 2024, I contributed $8,604.35. And again, that does not include what my company contributed, not my company match. It was just what I contributed. I was expecting that to be the last of it, but I'm actually going to start contributing to my 401k through my business as an employee, but also as the employer, giving myself a match in August. So that starts the second half of August, and then that's going to go through the end of the year. It won't be much. I definitely won't be maxing it out for 2024, but it will be, you know, a little bit on top of this. So maybe 9,000 total. I would say maybe 10,000 total at the most. It would be 10,000 total at the most. Will I ever max out my 401k? Maybe. I hope so. One day I still want to do that, but it's not going to be 2024. Next milestones are focused on passive income. Now, if we look back at the last year, I actually haven't been tracking my passive income because it's kind of a pain to keep up with. So for the most part, I was just logging, I think just like my high yield interest that I was gaining. Yeah, and then dividends when they came through. But honestly, I wasn't doing an amazing job at that. And then I started to get lazy with it as of the last time that I filmed this and wasn't tracking. But I did go through, and so I think for the most part, I can say on a monthly basis, I make over 200 from just passive income. If I look at what I gain in my high yield savings account, which is over 140 at this point on a monthly basis, and it increases every month. Also, the credit card cashback that I earn, which I wasn't even tracking here, I would say that's pretty passive income. I also open accounts for bonuses, didn't do a great job of tracking that, but I would say each month I am making over 200. And then before this video, I was looking at June specifically because that is when dividends get paid out. It's like on a quarterly basis. So June, I made $347.78. That was from mostly dividends and then the rest from interest. So that's why I put this on the $500 of passive income line. Now, I don't really have a goal for this because it's kind of hard to set a goal because it does change on a month-to-month basis, but just knowing that that's happening in the background on its own is pretty exciting, and I love passive income, my favorite way to make money. And all of it just stays where it's at. So if I have dividends, that just buys it automatically and stays invested. And then when I'm gaining the interest in my high yield savings account, it just stays in that account for the most part. So not too bad. And then final thing on here is to make over $100,000. Now, I would love for this to happen every single year, especially as I'm self-employed, but I set the goal for 2023 because I had never made over $100,000 ever in my life until 2023. So yeah, for the year, I had made almost $127,000. If I had stayed at my full-time job, I definitely would have achieved that again. I probably would have made more than this, maybe like $140,000, which is crazy, but I left my job, so now it's going to be maybe lower than this. It could still be over 100K, and I hope it is. This is gross earnings, by the way, so 127K gross, but I think for 2024, it might be closer to like 85K for the full year, but it would be amazing to get over 100K. My income goal with being self-employed would be to make 100,000 gross. Like that would be ideal for me, and I would feel much more comfortable with that, but I'm okay with it also being less because I am able to do something that I enjoy, you know, and make a little bit less money from it, but that's okay because I am much happier. But yeah, that's everything on this spreadsheet. Let me know if y'all have any questions, but otherwise y'all can literally hop into that spreadsheet whenever you want to throughout the next year and see my numbers updated on a monthly basis. I would love to hear any of the milestones that you achieved over the last year, but otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one.